I wasn't in the military. I wasn't some hardened professional. I was just a 20-year-old college kid, working double shifts to pay my tuition. But one summer day, I learned exactly how cruel, petty, and heartless some people can be, and how good it feels to stand up to them. Because when my manager tried to punish me for doing the right thing, I made sure my exit would be something he'd never forget. If you've ever worked for someone who treated you like you were disposable, someone who didn't see your humanity, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for one of the most emotionally satisfying workplace revenge stories you'll hear today. At 20, I was already used to hard work. Summers were my grind season. While other college students traveled or partied, I worked long shifts waiting tables at a place I genuinely loved. My co-workers were family, the customers were kind, and I felt like I was finally earning my independence. But that year I wanted to save a little more. Tuition was eating through my savings, and textbooks weren't cheap. So, I picked up a second job, just a few shifts a week, as a host at a restaurant I'll call Sapphire Wednesdays. It sounded fancy. But the first red flag appeared during my interview. The manager, let's call him Todd, greeted me with a half-empty beer in his hand. At 2 in the afternoon. On a Tuesday. His handshake was loose, his eyes dull, and his first question wasn't about my experience. It was, "You got a problem with working late if I decide to keep the bar open?" I should have known then. I should have walked out. But I needed the extra cash. My duties as host were simple. Greet customers, seat them, let the servers know, and keep the entryway tidy. I'd been in restaurants since I was 16, so I caught on fast. But something about Sapphire Wednesdays felt off. The servers looked exhausted. The kitchen staff avoided eye contact with management. Even the music that played over the speakers seemed tired, like the whole place had lost its soul. Still, I showed up, smiled, and did my job. 1 week in, everything changed. It was a quiet afternoon, between the lunch and dinner rush. I was standing at the host stand, flipping through reservation slips when I heard it. A deafening crash outside, the kind that freezes your blood for half a second. Through the glass doors I saw it. A car crumpled against a telephone pole, smoke rising from the hood. A semi had sideswiped it right in front of the restaurant. I didn't think. Just moved. I shouted to one of the servers, "Call 911," and sprinted across the parking lot. When I reached the car, my heart was pounding in my throat. The woman inside was trembling, gripping the steering wheel. Her face was pale, but she was conscious. I asked if she was okay. She nodded, trying not to cry. The truck driver was already on the phone with emergency services. A few drivers had stopped too, checking if anyone was hurt. For a moment, there was this rare, beautiful sense of humanity. Strangers helping strangers. People who didn't know each other, dropping everything to care. When I saw that everything was under control, I went back inside. My adrenaline was still buzzing. My hands were shaking slightly, but I felt proud. Like maybe I'd done something decent that day. Until I saw Todd. He was standing behind the empty host stand, arms crossed, jaw tight. The dining room was nearly empty. Maybe 2 customers finishing their meals. He didn't ask if anyone was hurt. Didn't ask what happened. He just snapped. "Where did you go?" And blinked. "There was an accident. I went to make sure everyone was okay." His eyebrows shot up like I'd told him I'd stolen from the register. "Why did you feel the need to do that?" I almost laughed. "Because I'm a human being." But he wasn't joking. He stepped closer, lowered his voice. That fake calm tone managers use when they're trying to assert power. "You abandoned your post. That's not acceptable here." I felt my stomach drop. I tried to explain. The woman could have been hurt, someone had to act, but he wasn't listening. He scribbled something on a form and said flatly, "I have to write you up." My throat tightened. "You're writing me up for helping someone in a car accident." He just nodded. "Rules are rules. You leave your station again, you're done. One more write-up and you're fired." That was the moment I realized. He didn't care about people. Not his staff. Not his customers. Not even himself. He just cared about control. I signed the paper with shaking hands and went home, silent the whole drive. That night I sat on the back porch with my dad. Told him everything. At first he was furious. His jaw clenched, his eyes narrow. But then he started laughing. Not out of amusement, but disbelief. He shook his head and said, "Son, you can't fix stupid. Quit that place. You're better than that." I nodded. But a part of me didn't want to just quit. Not quietly. I'd been humiliated for doing the right thing. Written up for being decent. No, I wasn't just going to walk away. I was going to make sure Todd remembered me. That night, my dad poured us both a glass of whiskey and said with a smirk, "If you're gonna leave, make it count." And that's when the idea hit me. My next scheduled shift was Friday night, the busiest of the week. The restaurant would be packed, and there was only one host scheduled, me. If I didn't show up, the front of house would be chaos. Customers would have no one to greet them, no one to assign tables, no flow. So I decided I would show up, just not on time. Friday came. Around 4 p.m. I got dressed for work. Slowly. Deliberately. No rush. By 5 o'clock, the dinner crowd was already forming. By 6 o'clock, I was supposed to be at the host stand. I left my house at 6:30. When I finally pulled into the parking lot around 7 o'clock, I could already see the chaos from my car. A crowd was forming near the entrance, people looking frustrated, the manager running around red-faced, trying to seat tables himself. I walked in calmly, my tie slightly crooked, hands in my pockets. Todd spotted me instantly. His face turned crimson. "Where the hell have you been?" he shouted, loud enough for the customers near the door to hear. I let him rant for a few seconds. He was sweating, barking orders at servers, trying to maintain order. Then I asked with perfect calm, "Am I going to be written up for this?" He glared. "You bet your ass you are. You're getting written up again." I nodded, smiled, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Oh no. Guess that means I'm fired, huh? Well, see ya." I took off my apron, placed it gently on the counter, and walked right out the door. The look on his face, a mix of shock, rage, and disbelief, was worth every second. Customers stared, whispering. A few even smirked. And Todd. He had to drag himself out from behind that bar and do my job all night. That night I went home, poured a drink, and sat outside with my dad under the warm glow of the porch light. He handed me a cigar, raised his glass and said, "To doing what's right, even when idiots don't see it." We laughed until midnight. And for the first time that week I felt free. Some people wear authority like a mask, thinking it gives them power over others. But real leadership, sympathy, it's humanity. Todd taught me something that summer. Sometimes doing the right thing won't earn you praise, but it'll earn you peace. And that's worth more than any paycheck. If this story made you smile or reminded you of a boss who never deserved their position, hit like, drop a comment sharing your most satisfying "I quit" moment, and don't forget to subscribe for more real stories of karma, justice, and human resilience. Because in the end, the best revenge is walking away with your head held high.